if you would give your name to note taker and sign in, please.
Sure. William Jones from Linden Engineering. Since the last hearing, we've provided additional information to the commission. The commission has received a peer review that we responded to, and I believe you have a peer review that says that your consultant is satisfied with everything. So with that, unless the commission has questions.
Okay. We also have our peer review, and we have received their last comment letter. Janet, would you like to speak on that?
Hi, Julia. Hi, for the record, Janet Bernardo from the Horsley Witten Group, professional engineer, and we conducted a peer review of the project looking at the stormwater management as well as the impacts to the riverfront area. We provided one letter dated May 12th and a second letter dated June 20th. For the most part, we are satisfied that the applicant has met our comments and our concerns. We have a few suggested conditions, but the one item that we are still haven't quite understood is exactly where the impervious area is being removed. So there's a reduction, and we understand that the tennis court is being removed and that there will be a parking lot and a building, and there's some gravel that will be, in theory, the gravel is permeable, but gravel qualifies as impervious. So the applicant has said that area is being removed, that impervious area is being removed. And so we were seeing that as then becoming vegetated, and we couldn't find a location that actually was being vegetated. So we were trying to understand. And that was like the one thing that we were just trying to close the loop on.
Was that item 12 under
I was just gonna
Yep.
ask.
area impacts?
Yes.
Okay, because that was the only one that I really wanted to have clarified, so thank you for that. I also wasn't really understanding number 13. Because there was no recommendation at the end of,
So, yes, number 13, really, as you are aware, applicants are allowed to maybe disturb up to 10% of the riverfront area. This property already has, I want to get the terminology, disturbance of more of 56%. So they're already over the 10%. And so the additional disturbance was so minor, it was like 20 square feet, that it didn't trigger anything. It was like, well, they're already over it as an existing condition, and it is what it is. But it was more a fact than a recommendation.
okay, great, thank you. Anybody on the commission have any comments, questions?
I had a couple. So Janet, are we saying now that, is this one of the proposed new regulations that gravel is it now impervious, or is it?
Well,
going to be
and
impervious?
every community kind of counts it slightly differently, but it's, when you're talking about riverfront area, gravel is more a hard compacted surface and not a habitat enhancing kind of a,
Right.
I mean, the whole idea of riverfront is providing habitat for any animals that might be in the river. So gravel doesn't do it.
And the gravel is going to be up above the stone embankment, right?
Yes, and behind, well, there's a recommendation for, they agreed to do some native plantings on the embankment, so that will be a great improvement. It was really, like, it was looking at, so there's some of the tennis court has been taken away that's closest to the riverfront area, so that's great. And then behind the parking lot, there was an area that like was a depression it's just crushed gravel. I know that we were out there in the field and we kind of talked about the gravel that's there and it's not lawn, and that was just easier to maintain for everybody in the area, and I don't think there was any more discussion than it's a maintenance.
Right.
thing.
And I think a lot of it is also due to the fact that we've got those pine trees there, so it's gonna be
Yeah,
kind of difficult to have
to
a lawn
grow
there.
grass even.
Yeah,
But behind the parking lot, on like the right hand, closest to the street, but now you're further from the riverfront area, so it doesn't give you as much bang for your buck kind of thing. But there was an area that looked like it could have been landscaped, and it's just called out as crushed gravel.
right.
But we weren't sure if they had something that we weren't seeing, because we couldn't find a vegetated area.
Right, okay. And so maybe that'd be a question for you, Bill, is the gravel what you're considering to be more impervious?
Yeah, the gravel is not road gravel. The gravel is crushed stone put over the soil.
Mhm.
So I don't disagree with gravel in a parking area because it gets compacted. This isn't gravel, it's crushed stone. And it's what's out there everywhere else. The reduction in, I mean, if you want to consider that stone impervious, then we have an awful lot more impervious there than we accounted for in our calculation, because the whole area is crushed stone
Right.
at the surface. So you can't have it both ways. We said that the crushed stone is not impervious, and I don't disagree about riverfront values, but it's not impervious because the water's going to go right through the crushed stone into the soil. So we're taking out pavement and replacing it with crushed stone. The area closer to the street is on the north side, and it's not going to get, it's got the big abrevieties there that are going to stay. We did not think that lawn would work there. So that's why it's done the way it is.
In the pavement that's being replaced with the crushed stone, is there gonna be an ability there's not gonna be any ability for cars to drive over that?
No, there's a curb.
Okay.
So
Okay,
the parking lot is smaller than the tennis court, and there's a curb around the parking lot. That's required by zoning.
okay. Okay, thanks. I had a couple questions just on the plantings, like the Virginia creeper. I mean, you kind of got to make sure that that doesn't start working its way up into the dogwoods and choking them out, because they can be invasive. And then the silky dogwood, there was only one silky dogwood proposed, and I'm not sure that that's going to be the greatest spot for a silky dogwood to grow, but give it a whirl. Other than that, I would like to see at some point, maybe in our order of conditions, that there would be a condition that we'd monitor those plantings for a couple years.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody else? Jim?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So Janet, thank you very much for putting this together. And, but I do have a question between the first peer review and the second. So one of the documents that was presented in the first peer review was the integrated pest management plan. But I don't see that discussed at all in the second letter. So my question is, was it just an oversight, or was there, nothing to that? But to me, there is, so I would like to see what that integrated pest management plan looks like, because we do have quite a bit of landscaping going on. It's going to be maintained, there's going to be an operation plan associated with it. We also know that there's going to be some level of rodent control that's going on, so I would like to see what that integrated pest management plan looks like and have the opportunity to review it and to approve it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that I don't have a response for you because I didn't read that piece of it.
Okay.
Okay, the integrated pest management plan was submitted, I believe it was April 9th. It was listed by Horsley Witten in the first peer review because that was among the documents they had to review. There were no changes to it based on the peer review, and that, I believe, is why it wasn't listed in the second one. I have given Teresa a complete list of all the documents, and that is indeed listed in there.
So that document has been presented to the commission?
Yeah, 2 months ago.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? This is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on the matter? Okay, bring it back to the commission. Any last comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, just one comment. I do appreciate the cooperation and making some of these changes, particularly with the improvement in some of the native plantings. And I do agree that just any removal of the existing hot top there now, and even with the stone, I think is going to improve the filtration, so I'm happy with that.
Anybody else? I would like to thank both parties for working together and getting this to this point. A job well done. Bring it back to the petitioner. Is it your request that we close the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Chairman, I move that we close the public hearing.
Before, I'm sorry, no, the motion is on the table. I just wanted to ask a question of the applicant before the motion goes through. The next meeting of the Conservation Commission is beyond the 21-day period to issue. Just asking if you would consent to additional time for the commission to issue an order of conditions.
Well, it's been a long time already. We are so far behind, having filed this in February. I don't know, Jeffrey?
I mean, we'd like to keep moving forward.
Yeah, the problem is, then there's the appeal period, whatever, next thing you know, it's gonna be September.
Okay. Then the commission will have to schedule a special
Have a
meeting.
special
Yep.
meeting.
I'll second the motion that's on the table.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
All right, thank you.
At the end of the meeting, folks, we'll set up a special meeting to get the order of conditions signed and delivered. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Drake Development LLC, 28 Van Norden Road. Notice of intent, DP number 348-884 for a single-family home. Is there someone here to speak on that?
So, Mr. Chairman, I did get, I had a phone call today from the representative for the applicant who, actually, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, my day is running together, but had indicated that he wanted to delay the opening of the public hearing to our meeting in July. I expected to get something in writing. That was my understanding it was coming. Having said that, I've had some issues with email today, so I don't know if something was sent and it just didn't go through. But verbally, I was told that they wanted to delay the opening of the hearing.
All right,
So-
so I will entertain a motion based on a verbal request to delay the opening of this particular hearing to July 24th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next on the agenda is Massport. Locus is 100 Atlantic Ave. Notice of intent, DP number 348-0885 for parking lot improvements. And if you folks would state your name for the note taker and sign in. Just let the rest of the commission know We did a site walk, and it was pretty extensive, and I think a lot of good communication was brought out. So with that said, I'll let you do your presentation.
Do we have access to a screen?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Can I,
Screen.
I'm gonna connect.
Oh, the screen.
Thanks, Jeff. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mira Orlando. I am here on behalf of Massport with the Environmental Unit. Joining me this evening is Chet Myers, Deputy Director of Maritime, as well as Tom Cullen, Senior Project Manager at Massport. Our HNTB team is here as well, Carly Barron, Jeff Watson, and Allie Matson. We're here today to present the work proposed at the Anderson Regional Transport Center. The purpose of this project is to maintain the condition of the parking lot in order to maintain the Industry Plex Superfund site cap, which is part of an agreement with EPA. And with that, I'll hand it over to Carly and Jeff, who will present the details on the project. Hi, everyone. My name is Carly Barron. I'm just going to go straight into what I'm going to be talking about. I'll give you a quick project overview, talk a little bit about the history of the site, discuss the work, existing wetland resources on site, the proposed 100-foot buffer zone impacts, and then we'll jump into a follow-up from our site visit last week, because I know we came out of it with some questions and requests, and so we'll try to cover all of those things. So like Mary said, this is a parking lot rehabilitation and repair project at Anderson Regional Transportation Center, or the ARTC. And it is strictly temporary impacts in the 100-foot buffer zone. What I would like to note, and I do have some hard copies here, this buffer zone impact number is different than what was included on our original application. I sent the commission an updated plan with just, the design hasn't changed at all. We just added a 100-foot buffer to a feature that didn't have it before, and our impacts went up just a little bit. We're looking at 2.57 acres of impact to the 100-foot buffer. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this site, but the ARTC is built on the Industriplex Superfund site, which was a former chemical and glue manufacturing facility. The site was cleaned and capped with an impermeable layer to seal hazardous waste and prevent further pollution. The ARTC was built on the site in 2001 as a joint venture between Massport, the MBTA, and MassDOT. And as Mary touched on, the ARTC has an agreement with the EPA to maintain this site. So this project is just a part of the ARTC fulfilling that obligation. To touch on the actual work proposed, we have pavement repair, so a mix of mill and overlay and full depth pavement replacement. Some drainage improvements, so that includes replacing 2 manholes, only one of which is actually in the buffer zone. Replacing 4 catch basins, none of those fall in the buffer zone. And then repairing 16 catch basins, so that's basically cleaning them out, concrete and brick repair, and adjusting them to the new grade of the parking lot, and 5 of those catch basins fall within the buffer zone. And then on top of that, we just have some restriping, fence repairs, and there's a laydown area within the existing lot. But I do want to just point out that everything is proposed within the existing parking lot. We had several wetland resources that were delineated along the perimeter of the site, which we saw some of during our site visit. We have 4 intermittent streams. So let's see if I can, yeah. So we have HNTB B, C, and D are up here, and they kind of flow southeast. And then HNTB F, which is this intermittent stream man-made channel that comes all the way around to the south. And then 2 bordering vegetated wetlands, HNTB A. And what we have determined is a wetland. That was a question at the site visit. This is HNTB E. And then this HNTB-G is a stormwater management system. And so all of these features have a 100-foot buffer, that yellow line, with the exception of HNTB-G.
So you'll see that most of the buffer really just kind of hugs the perimeter of the parking lot. And so, like I said, we have 112,163 square feet, or 2.57 acres of impact. It is a little hard to see on here, but this is our updated plan. The green are the delineated features. The yellow, which you can kind of see, is the 100-foot buffer. And then the dark gray shading is the 100-foot buffer impacts. And as you can see, we do not have a buffer on HNTBG because it is non-jurisdictional. So now we're just going to hop into some of the questions that came up at the site visit. On the left are the questions and requests, and on the right is Massport's response. So I'm going to cover the wetland questions, and then I'll pass it to Jeff to talk about stormwater, which I think was the kind of main concern. So one of the questions that came up was what type of erosion controls will we be using, and it is compost filter tubes, and there's a detail on, I think, sheet 77 of the plans. And then the other one was just to confirm that HNTBE and HNTBG because we were initially calling them non-jurisdictional stormwater management systems, and the question was just to confirm that they weren't wetland creation. And it does turn out that HNTBE, which, if I can go back here, was actually wetland creation from the 90s or before, I guess the 90s. And so we did end up calling this a jurisdictional BVW with a 100-foot buffer zone. So that's that change to the plans. And then HNTBG, we were able to confirm, is a stormwater detention basin. It was built in 1990, beyond 1996. So it is non-jurisdictional, so it does not have a 100-foot buffer zone. And these plans, this is just a plan sheet from 1996. You can see in the yellow there, it says created wetland. That's our HNTBE. This is what is the parking lot now. And then this plan is from 1998, and it shows the proposed detention basin. It does say detention basin right here. And that's our HNTBG, non-jurisdictional. And you can see that intermittent stream coming along here. And that is I'm wrapping it up for the wetlands. I'll pass it over to Jeff to talk about the stormwater requests.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to walk through these. We provided a graphic that I think will illustrate the drainage patterns of the site a lot more clearly. So we'll look at that next. But one of the things that we discussed on site last Wednesday was the depths of the catch basin structures, whether they had deep sump basins on site. They are not deep sump basins. The site is limited by the geotextile cap for the depth that utilities and drainage was able to be installed to. The overall site flow pattern, we discussed this quite a bit. There's a sedimentation basin on site.
Do you want me to go to that?
Sedimentation structure, but I'll go to that next.
Okay.
It'll be more clear when we get to that, which we did inspect. Overall, the site drainage flows from north to south, and all of it is combined in a 3 by 4 foot box culvert, and ultimately discharges into this sedimentation basin, which then discharges to a constructed stormwater wetland. Stormwater maintenance plan, we've provided an operation and maintenance and long-term pollution prevention plan in our stormwater report. We also discussed logs of maintenance for the sedimentation structure. And this documentation is forwarded to the commission. I believe we had 2 or 3 years.
Yes, 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years?
Yeah, so we do
3
have
or
that
4
documentation.
years of documentation for servicing of the sedimentation structure. Generally speaking, the sedimentation structure is cleaned annually. We discussed the presence of oil separators on the site, of which there are none. And We also discussed the catch basin structures, taking them offline or out of series in this project. We'll go into this a little bit more when we look at the next graphic, but basically, the structures do not have sumps. They're unable to have deep sump structures on the site because of the cap. So taking them offline from one another doesn't really provide any sort of additional TSS removal. So we don't really view that as providing any sort of positive benefit here. So that is basically that. So I'd like to look at this next figure to give you a better outline of what's going on here for the drainage patterns. What you see in blue, the blue line work here, is the drainage network that's present on the site. We're not altering this in any way aside from rehabilitation purposes, replacement of structures, cleaning and clearing. Generally speaking, we have a network that the main trunk line is a 3x4 foot box culvert that's flowing from north to south. You can see towards the south the sedimentation structure, which is highlighted in green. It's effectively serving as a pre-treatment measure. It requires routine inspection, clearing, and maintenance. And this discharges to a constructed stormwater wetland. So the intent here really is to show that everything is being collected. The catch basins on the lot are located at localized low points. All of the impervious area of the site is being collected by one of these structures and being conveyed through this system from north to south, and ultimately finds its way into the sedimentation structure. There's actually two inlets that are connected to it. That's the southern corner there of the Massport lot is the second inlet. However, they're both basically doing the same thing. I think that about summarizes that. And this is just an overall summary. The ARTC is responsible for maintaining the Superfund site exposure protections, which includes maintenance of the parking lot, which is really our primary goal here. The environmental cap is really limiting the degree of vertical disturbance that we can provide, hence limiting our reach in terms of a stormwater infrastructural improvement beyond rehabilitation, which would require EPA coordination for any disturbance. And we feel that the stormwater system that's present is actually very effective and really does function very similarly to having deep sump catch basins that are offline, offline of the primary drainage network.
That's all we have. Any questions? Is there anything?
If you can leave that up, that last,
This one?
yes. So particularly, obviously, the bold printed, I just don't believe that sediment basin is the same as a deep sump catch basin, especially a deep sump catch basin with hoods that don't allow, gas and oil and floatables to get down into that. So it's definitely, to me, not the same as a deep sump catch. And it kind of boggles my mind a little bit that all we can do out here is come up with a stormwater system that is similar to having deep sump catch basins. I mean, to me, it's a LUPL, right? There should be some way, I think, somehow or other to keep the oil and gas and floatables out of that sediment basin, because once that basin, as we saw when we went out there, fills up, all the top stuff on top, oil, gas, floatables, goes over the edge and into the constructed, I guess it's a stormwater management system. I don't know where I don't know if that stormwater management system allows water to go anywhere else from there. Obviously, we didn't get down there to check that. But I mean, it's almost, to me, it's implausible that we can't more effectively manage the stormwater out there. Do we know what depth you can go to out there? Do you have anything?
Varies. We have record drawings to illustrate it, but it's a few feet down. I can't recall exactly. It varies with the site. It's just shallow enough to allow for the utility layout, drainage layout. But as you saw, the catch basin structures are all shallow, drop inlet type structures that are laid out.
And there would be absolutely no place on that site where, I mean, like even where the sediment basin is, that you could put like some sort of, water quality unit. That basin is pretty deep. It's probably 10 feet. I don't know. Is that anything that was looked into, I guess?
Well, the sedimentation structure does provide TSS removal in terms of water quality, but you're referring more to the pollutants.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is not.
I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
please.
What I was going to say is, you said we have maintenance records. It didn't appear as though that basin had been cleaned for quite some time. Do we know exactly when the last cleaning was? It looked like there was a lot of sediment in there. I mean, I think there was actually some plants growing out of it.
It is maintained annually. We can tell you when.
Yeah, our most recent invoice is from February of 2024. So it is
Do.
due to be done in 2025.
Okay.
I would agree with Commissioner Lomas. I just made note to myself that we're not getting any improvement, and I don't know how much clearer I could have been at the sidewalk, that when we get projects like this, we really need to see water quality improvement. And I was anxious for this night because I thought I was gonna see some creativity, because I understand the restrictions and everything, but with all of the new technology and everything that's out there, I was really excited to see what kind of creativity you guys were gonna come in with. And I'm quite honest, I'm disappointed that we're not seeing any of that. Because, as I said, anytime we get a redevelopment, one of the things that I really strive for is improvement to water quality. Right now, I'm not seeing any of that. And I also would agree with that pond that is supposedly the existing stormwater system. I would disagree with the word effective. That's my feelings. Anybody else on the commission have any comments or questions?
I do, Mr. Chairman, and I do kind of understand, and I understand what we're saying, because we've been frustrated on a lot of these, and I think our goal is always to improve it. But we've had some of these projects before us in the past, and it's frustrating because I know that the EPA is, you're under their guidelines. This is a system that they approved. And we ran through it before on one other one, where you can't go too deep because you can't get through the impervious surface underneath, and it is Superfund. It's frustrating, but I know any changes are gonna require an EPA to review it.
Well, one of my thoughts, and quite honestly, is I thought we might see some improvements with the existing stormwater in that basin that we were just talking about, some type of filtration or whatever, but just to leave it the way it is and not get any improvement, even if it's 5 or 10% improvement, it's an improvement. And that's typically what I like to see, so, I think I've said enough. Anybody else on the commission?
I agree with you. I think we should get improvements, so.
I mean, are you actually telling us that there's no possible way, this is it, this is all you have, and there's no possible way to make any improvements to the stormwater management out there?
I think that it's we've presented a number of variables that are impacting this. I think that in the end, this is a repaving project that, we're maintaining this parking lot and we're maintaining our, obligation to keep this cap functioning. And we have a stormwater system that, correct, this whole area was designed under the oversight of EPA and DEP. It's our position that it is functioning well, and we do understand that you do want to push for these improvements on all projects. I think that this project perhaps is maybe not the best opportunity for us to make these improvements, but that there are, there's future work in this area, and I think if anyone else can speak to that better than me, but there would be opportunities in the future to look into this more deeply. I think that those innovative design ideas just they weren't part of this pretty simple paving project that has a lot of restraints. So that's where we're coming from, I think.
And I appreciate, thinking that way. My only thought was that, this might be the last chance that we get to improve stormwater quality out there, I mean, nothing's been done. I think that pavement's been there for almost maybe over 30 years or something. It's just been patched and patched and patched. And now everything's being dug up and repaved. It seems like to me like this would be the perfect time to improve stormwater quality. But it's nice to hear that, maybe in the future there's some work that could be done out there, but we don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, I guess if it's impossible to go and get it offline with deep sumps, that seems like an impossibility, right? That's
Deep sumps are definitely out, yeah.
even offline without sumps, it really doesn't matter as long as it's going to the same.
Offline without the sumps doesn't provide any sort of benefit.
No, doesn't, right.
Oh, and I would agree, and I agree, this is a project that would, we could say it would benefit from deep sumps all day long, but I understand that you just can't, and that's, I'm sure you're just as frustrated as we are on some of these things, but I know you're limited because it'll open up a Pandora's box when it comes to the other regulations you guys have to adhere to, so I get it, I understand it, and, if it's working now and they approved it, I can understand why you don't want to kind of open that box up with them, but.
The only thing I would say to it, it was approved in the past, it's like a lot of things were approved in the past, but regulations and rules have changed since then.
Right.
So, I feel like if you're telling us that it's impossible to do anything, I guess I should take your word for it, right? It's impossible.
Well, I think for the scope of this project, is we're talking a lot about implementing something right at the source of the catch basins, right, like deep sump, which can't be done. However, in the future, maybe it's possible some sort of retrofit to the pretreatment sedimentation structures an option. So I guess to the point, that's kind of where I disagree in that it's either now or never, or now or it won't be for 30 years, because they're just trying to maintain the lot and repave it. there's not much that can be done about that drainage network. In fact, it's convenient and nice that right now, everything's being collected, it's all going to one place. So the problem isn't all the stuff that's being collected. The problem is maybe we need to take a better look at where it's all ending up. And maybe there's something we can do there, which requires a different set of study, as you know. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think for the scope of what we're doing, it's not really feasible.
So you're saying that some sort of a retrofit into that sediment basin,
Potentially.
potentially,
Have to
say.
be looked into, yeah.
But how much time would it take to actually look into that? Because if that's the end of the line as far as water quality goes, I guess I wonder why that wasn't explored. What would it have taken to explore that? And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not too late to explore that. Because I think about it a lot, like, if it's impossible to get deep sumps out there, then the only way to treat the water is where it ends up. And I would have liked to have seen some exploration, down that road.
Jerry, if I may, with that thought in mind, let me just go through a couple of procedural things, and I just had jotted down an idea, and I don't know if I'm out of bounds with it or not, but anybody else have any questions or comments?
Kind of along that line, is it at all possible, if there is some future, possible solution, that maybe some newer technology along the way, can it be kind of conditioned in if we do approve? Can it be conditioned in that, I don't know how what mechanism would trigger that? Like,
Right.
Who
That's a
would
stretch.
that be on? I don't know if it'd be on them or for us to say, we'd like this to be looked into, or that can be done or not.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, just my only comment, and I'll kind of piggyback off Commissioner Lonis's comment. So I too, when we went on the site visit, I too was concerned about the overflow out of the catch basin. And I had to think, what would it have looked like? I wished I was there when we had that 3-inch rainstorm. And did that water go over the culvert? Did it go down into that constructed wetland? What went down into that constructed wetland? And then where did it go? And it's always the where did it go that I get concerned about, especially when I know that they all flow into other stormwater pieces that are jurisdictional, that do flow perhaps into the public drinking water supply. So I get concerned about that. I do share the same opinion that I would like to see something in that retention area. If you focus just on that retention area and what could be done to improve that as part of this project, I think it would go a long way in, number one, it would get your project really going, but I think number two, it would really show some, I don't know if good faith is the word or not, but it would really show some proactivity in terms of improving the quality of the water that potentially can go over that catch basin, that culvert, into the constructed wetland and then beyond. So that's my comment. I'd like to see at least go back and take a look at that and come back with a recommendation for what you think. And if it's nothing, and if someone says, well, we cannot do it, it's because of A, B, and C, and D, whatever those things are, that's fine. But I'd like to at least see it, at least take it under consideration. That's my comment. Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Hearing none. So here was my spin on what I've been hearing. Our next meeting is July 24th. That's almost a month. Our site walk was only a week ago. would you guys consider asking for a continuance and having the next 3.5 weeks or so to look into some credible way of getting some of the concerns heard from this commission addressed? And I know time is always of the essence,
Right.
but I think you're hearing concerns about improving the water quality. And like I said, this would be a great opportunity because our meeting isn't till the end of July. And it would give you more than just the week that you've just had to look into this. I can't believe that throughout the entire country that has wetland laws and water quality, that there's not another Superfund that is dealing with similar situations. But that was my thought.
How do we feel about waiting a month? Do we have the option to have a sooner, or a meeting before then, like the project before us? Is that even something that we could design or look into within 2 weeks?
Design, no.
I would say no, because the special meeting is probably going to be during the day.
Okay. Then, we're happy to look into it.
For me personally, and I can't speak for everybody else, but if you came back and said, we looked, we tried, and I get it, and normally on any other project, I would agree, but I understand, I'm kind of siding with you, I know you guys are bound to it. I don't think there's any other water that's more tested than the water that's coming out of there, especially the groundwater. So I know there's a ton of regulations, I know there's more, it's not, if it goes anywhere, it's being tested. But it is kind of we would like to see some improvements, and it has been 30 years since the drainage was looked at. So I'm looking at both sides. So I think if we had some
Understood.
more time, maybe see what else is out there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Chet Myers. I'm the Deputy Director for maritime-related projects and project delivery at Capital Programs at Massport. We understand the Commission's concerns. We are operating under very restrictive conditions in this location. Obviously, we don't want to disturb the Superfund cap. It's an engineered cap that was constructed under the Superfund project. If we disturb it, we're not sure what the regulatory implications are. Obviously, we have very, very stringent agreements between Massport, Massport as a component of the overall ARTC. Obviously, MassDOT and MBTA are also part of that. But we're under very restrictive agreements about not disturbing the cap. We don't know what the implications are. We could end up reopening the Superfund site, which we would not want to do from a regulatory point of view. And that could have permitting implications even on this hearing because Superfund is exempt from local and state permitting. However, we certainly understand your concerns. We will go back. We will take a closer look at this. We will see whether or not we have those same restrictions in the area of the sedimentation basin. We'll see what the options are for adding additional structures, if possible. And we'll come back and we'll report to the Commission and see if we've been able to make any progress. I would say it's doubtful in the area of the catch basins themselves due to the depth of between the asphalt and the top of the cap. But there could potentially be something that we could do in the vicinity of the stormwater structure, the constructed wetland. So we will take a look at that. We'll take those 3 weeks and we'll look at that and we'll come back. Thank you.
Yeah, I certainly would not ever want to see the cap, disturbed in any way, shape, or wouldn't even think of asking you to do anything like that.
Of course.
It's just, I guess for me, it just came down to, okay, we can't do anything with the catch basins. Let's at least look at that final resting spot for the sediment and, where it flows over into the stormwater management basin out there.
We understand, and at least we need to make sure that, all due diligence has been done, that all avenues have been explored. So we will take a look at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Myers, did you sign in, please? I'm sorry, did you sign the, thank you.
All set?
So you'd like to continue?
So I also want to just say, I appreciate your response to the concerns of the commission. The meeting is the 24th, so the commission would need materials by the 17th, which is a week ahead of that,
Okay.
by noon. And obviously, if you have things sooner than that, that's fine.
Okay.
But just to put that on your calendar
Okay.
as a target date.
Great.
So your request to continue to the 24th of July?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue the public hearing to our July 24th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
considering that.
Thank you
Really
very much.
appreciate it.
All right, next on the agenda, under business items, any upcoming site visits that?
7 Crossman and 55 Winter Street.
I didn't bring Winter Street with me, but I did bring Crossman. So those two we should take a look at?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it 55 Winter?
Yes. 7 Crossman is
Crossman.
one of the houses that we've just, that's
Right,
the
I
one
was
that.
gonna say,
Just did a certificate of compliance,
opened.
and they're applying, I believe, to put in an in-ground swimming pool.
Well, it's done, but now they want to add a pool.
Oh, I didn't see.
We just
Do we
did it.
want to set dates or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna take myself out of this discussion because I don't know if I'm gonna be away or not.
Winchester.
Some personal things going on, and I don't know what my status is gonna be. So the 6 of you can decide. I'll write down the dates and time, and if I can be there, I will.
Next week I'm on vacation.
I'm on the week after that vacation, the week of the 7th through 11th.
So what's, Monday's the 30th, right? Is that what? is that-
Yeah.
No one's around next week, right?
No.
Probably not.
Next week's a tough week.
Following week or Monday, what would that be? Is that
That would be
the
the
7th.
7th.
7th?
7?
I don't think
That any
I'll be
good?
around.
Yeah, fine.
I don't think I'm
Good.
gonna be around.
Monday, the 7th?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
What time? Can we do morning or do we have to go later in the day?
Well, I can do morning.
I do morning.
I can do morning.
All right,
7 Crossman?
10 o'clock,
And where are you gonna start?
7 Crossman, I guess.
Crossman, yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about on July 7th?
Yes.
If
Sorry, you said 10 a.m.?
I'm not heading out that day, I will make that. But I'm gonna be doing day trips all that week, so.
I don't know if I'll be back by then, and I have a doctor's appointment. I will definitely be back that day, but I'll do my best. I can
All right.
come back- Try and come back early.
All right, so starting at 7 Crossman, then to 55 Winter
10:30?
on Monday, July 7th at 10 a.m. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, we'll just go right after.
And
Good.
before we get to minutes,
Yep.
would members be available for a special meeting anytime on July 15th, which is a Tuesday?
Give us enough days? That's enough.
Yeah.
I would be available up until 1 o'clock.
Okay. Anybody available on Tuesday before 1 o'clock? That's Tuesday, July 15?
I'm not
believe I'll
available
be
till
okay.
after 5.
I could probably make it work. if we can
Make it work.
Should be good for that.
July 15th, and that's a Tuesday?
I'm not
Yep.
sure.
Correct.
So I just want to confirm that 4 people at least
Yeah,
are,
I can't commit.
okay.
And
I
Um,
can be a maybe,
Jim,
but I
you're-
can't commit.
You can commit?
7:15. Yeah, I can commit.
Okay, you
I
can't.
can't unless it's after 5 o'clock.
We haven't set a time, just before 1. Oh, sorry. The site walk was 10 a.m.
Oh, 10 a.m.
Yep. The special meeting is before 1, so we'll nail that down, but I just want to see if I can
I'm gonna
get
be
a
in
firm,
town on the 14th, so if we're doing the morning of the 15th, I could do that.
okay? And you're good,
Good.
and Steve, you're good?
I'm good, yes, I
And
should be
Kevin?
okay.
I'll be good.
You're good, okay. So then let's nail down the time.
What's the best time?
11:30?
That's
Be
good.
Right before your
Works
lunch,
for
then you
me.
go to lunch.
Yes.
Yep,
Right.
yep, yep,
Time? 10 a.m.?
Either 11 or 11:30?
yes,
Either one is good for me.
Would, do you guys have a
11
preference?
o'clock?
it's fine for me.
11?
11's good.
11
o'clock?
a.m.? All right.
11, okay.
All right, I will, the location to be announced. I'll let you know where. We will send out a reminder to everyone.
All right, so for our special meeting, that will be July 15th, which is a Tuesday at 11 a.m., site to be. All right, next on the agenda, we have a draft of the minutes of June 12th, 2025.
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of June 12th, 2025 as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Anybody have anything to bring before the commission?
have one quick item if I could. I'm just gonna pass around if it's okay. We had said, I guess I had a homework assignment from last week. And I was supposed to put some words together on yard waste. And we said that everybody is concerned about the why, right? So why should people be concerned about yard waste? And the why is there's the legal why, and then there's the environmental why. So I put some words together. Mr. Bush was kind enough to.
I got two, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Mr. Joyce was kind enough to help me out with my words and facts. And I went to our city solicitor.
You?
I went to our city solicitor and got help. That said, simply stated, here are some words that we have that is educationally geared to talk to both on the matter of why, on yard waste, legally and environmentally, why you should care. And I think everybody agreed that conversationally, when you talk to people, that's what comes up all the time. You know, when they put the yard waste, they throw it in the neighbor's yard, or they throw it on city land, and everything. You say, well, what's the big deal? So, what's the big deal? It's just grass. It's just my grass clippings. So here it is. This is the best attempt. I know that, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Joyce in just a second, that he came up with, there are, where'd you get these items? Engineering?
Yes.
Engineering has educational little leaflets here and everything like that I'll pass around. And Jim, I think you've got some over there for the people, yeah? You just have some of these?
I don't have any with me tonight.
I'll hand his over here. But here are some of the ones that city engineering already has that educates people. So this is all about the education. This is all about the why. So,
Thank you.
I did my homework assignment. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. There was some phone calls. There was some confusion. Now, to that end, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Joyce for suggestions of what we may consider in terms of educational use of the words we have on paper.
So what the suggestion is, and this is what we're planning on doing for Woburn Green Fest, is on our conservation table, we're going to have the sheet that the engineering department has, which is already pre-printed. They gave me a stack of them. I probably have 100 of them. So we're going to put these out on the table, and we thought that it might be good to have our one-pager that's dressed up with some information or conservation type of graphics that you could actually use for an education campaign out on social media or anything like that. So, and we could also have that at our table as well. So it's kind of a combination of both. So that's the thought.
I like the ideas.
Yep. And Jim, I'm still up in the air, but if I'm here on Sunday,
Great. Excellent. The more the better. Need backup.
anything else before the commission?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention?